Hello Bookish friends, welcome to my March wrap-up part 2. In this video, I will talk about the 7 works that I finished in the second half of March. And like I did in my previous wrap-ups, I will insert the clips that I've recorded quite soon after I finish those works. Today is the 16th of March and I finished another book for March Mystery Madness, which was Songbird by Gail Meath. This book is the first book in Jack's Diamond Mystery series, and I read this book for the decade of 2020s, which is of course our current decade. In this book, we follow Jax and he investigates the murder of the husband that he's been hired to follow by the wife of the murdered man. He investigates this murder with Laura, who was going to be the lead singer in the musical that the murdered man was writing, which was titled Songbird. I discovered Gail Meath through Book Sirens, and I read 2 e-arcs from her and really liked both of them. And that was the reason that I decided to put this book on my TBR. I really liked this book as well. The writing style of Gail Meath is very enjoyable for me. She writes very clearly, and she also can describe what is happening through quite a subtle wit. And her characters are always complex, also quite relatable with some faults. The additional aspect of romance in this mystery was handled quite well. I decided to continue with Jack's Diamond series. So overall, I liked this book a lot, and I gave Songbird by Gail Meath an 8 out of 10. It is the 18th of March and I finished another book that I'm reading for middle grade March, which was quite a short book actually. Paddington on Top by Michael Bond, the 10th book in Paddington Bear series. Like the previous books, in this book we follow the adventures of Paddington Bear, who came from darkest Peru and was found by the Brown family in Paddington Station, and therefore was given the name Paddington Brown. In this installment of the series, Paddington goes to school, becomes a witness, tries his chance at rugby, and spends time with a guest who came from abroad. In all of these stories, Paddington is acting sometimes like a child and sometimes like an adult, and that's what makes him so endearing. Of course, in all of the adventures that he has, he is very prone to accidents. Also, very possible that he will misunderstand some adult. I think among the last 4 books in the series that I read, I liked this one the most. Especially his adventures as a witness in the trial and as a student in the 6th grade was hilarious. I find myself laughing out loud. So I gave Paddington on Top by Michael Bond a 7 out of 10. Today is the 20th of March and I finished another book that I was reading for March Mystery Madness. I also read this book for category romance online book club hosted by Sarah at the Bookish Knitter. And this month there was no definite author. We can read any book belonging to a category romance line. And because it was March Mystery Madness, I read a Harlequin intrigue book, Honolulu called Homicide by our Barri Flowers. This book was written in 2023, another book for the decade of 2020. This book, taking place in Honolulu, detective Sergeant Lance Warner is a homicide detective. The latest homicide case resembles a method which was used to kill older sister 20 years ago. He is paired up with CGD specialist Caroline Yashima from the cold case department, also his ex. While they try to solve both the cold case and the current homicide, they try to resolve their feelings for each other, which are still very much alive. I've never read a category romance book written by a male author, so this was an interesting experience for me. Author Barri Flowers also writes crime procedural books. The mystery side of this book was significantly better than the romance aspect. The mystery and the romance aspects could have been integrated better. However, because the characters were defined so well, I also really wanted the best for the couple. It was a quite enjoyable read for me, and I gave Honolulu called Homicide by R. Barri Flowers a 7 out of 10. Today is the 23rd of March. I finished 2 books, one in the morning and one in the evening. The book that I finished in the morning was the book that I was reading for my in-person book club, which was a short story collection written by actually one of my high school friends, Toplum Böceği by Kerem Işık. This short story collection consists of 4 long short stories and 6 more very short stories, and they were all about the people and the society. The title of the book can be translated as Society Bug. Like many of the short story collections that I read, I liked some of them, whereas I did not care for the others. But I very distinctly liked 3 of the longer stories. Overall, I very much enjoyed the writing style of my friend, and I wish all of the stories in his collection were longer. But still, it was a quite good reading experience, and I gave Toplum Böceği by Kerem Işık a 7 out of 10. The short story that I finished in the evening was sort of like a sequel short story to one of my favorite middle grade books that I've read, which is Wonder by R.G. Palacio. The title of the story is the Julian chapter, and we are told the events that are taking place in the Wonder from the point of view of the bully of the story, Julian. I found the idea of writing the story from the antagonist of the story quite a good idea, and considering we are talking about a 10-year-old child, makes it much more interesting, and how he becomes a bully because of the miscommunication and the desire to please his parents. And additionally, I love the section in which Julian's grandmother is included. I actually shed a few tears while reading that section. Overall, it was a great reading experience. I loved being in the world of wonder and the very comfortable and also emotional writing style of R.G. Palacio. So I gave the Julian chapter by R.G. Palacio a 9 out of 10. Today is the 26th of March, and I finished the last book that we were reading for the Pineiro project hosted by Pat. The title of the last translated book by Pineiro is A Little Luck. In this book, a woman returns to an Argentinian city in which she was born and also lived until she was in her late 20s. She is terrified to return to the town because of a terrible incident that she suffered. Although she has a different name and a very different look right now, she dreads meeting a very special person that she has left behind. As we read throughout the book, we learn the person that our protagonist Maria is dreading to meet, and also slowly we learn about a terrible incident and the aftermath effects of this incident on this woman. I really liked this book by Claudia Pineiro. Although I was a bit late in starting the book, I finished the book in a very short time because I was fully immersed in the book. I love the writing style of the author, like her previous books, but this one I think was the most engaging one for me. Also, I was very interested in what really happened and what the mystery was. Even after learning the mystery, I was fully immersed in the story because I was also very much invested in our protagonist and other significant characters. In order not to give spoilers, I will not go into details, but I can say that reading this book has been a wonderful experience, both in terms of my enjoyment of the book, of course, as well as the great discussions that we had in our Voxer group. Although I have only read the last 4 books, I'm very, very glad to be a part of this Voxer group. I would like to thank Pat for forming this group with wonderful and kind book lovers. So overall, this was a great read for me, and I gave A Little Luck by Claudia Pineiro a 9 out of 10. Today is the 31st of March, and in the early hours of the morning, I finished the first book in Mrs. Pollifax series, The Unexpected Mrs. Pollifax by Dorothy Gilman. In this book, we follow Emily Pollifax. She is a widow with 2 grown children. Although she is very much occupied with charity work in her town, she feels very bored and aimless with her life. So she decides to follow her dream of becoming a spy and goes to CIA to apply for a position of a spy. With some misunderstandings, she is actually employed as a spy for a very harmless job of appearing just like a clueless tourist. She goes to Mexico to buy a significant book from a significant bookstore on a significant day, but she feels very curious about the bookstore and the owner. And when she goes there again for the second time, she sees another man, and everything else goes wrong after that moment. I have heard praises for this book series from many of my booktube friends. They all said it was a quite fun and exciting book to read, and that was the experience that I got from this book as well. First of all, I have to say nothing in this book is believable. After accepting that, the book becomes very, very fun and quite exciting actually. I always had a smile on my face with all of the absurdities that happens with Mrs. Pollifax. But Mrs. Pollifax is a very endearing character. Of course brave, but also with so much vulnerabilities, and also full of practical ideas from her experience as an elderly lady. Additionally, I loved the writing style of the author. I will definitely continue with the series. I am especially excited for the second book, which takes place in Turkey. Overall, I gave The Unexpected Mrs. Pollifax by Dorothy Gilman an 8 out of 10. Those were the 7 works that I finished in the second half of March. Please comment down below. Have you read any of the books that I mentioned in this video, and what did you think of them? If you're a new viewer, first of all, welcome. Please like and subscribe. Hope to see you very soon. Bye. As for Turkish word of the day, I'm going to choose top. Top means üst in Turkish, and üst is our Turkish word of the day. Have a good day.